Chapter 1. Interview in Disguise. The blazing sunshine of Los Angeles penetrated the huge French windows without reservation and hit Michael Reynolds' face directly. He frowned subconsciously, raised his hand to rub his temple, and then adjusted his sitting posture, trying to find a trace of peace in this room full of flashing lights and noisy questions. At this moment, the room was filled with various interview equipment, and the camera lenses were like a pair of sharp eyes, staring at him closely, and the flashes were one after another, just like the stars twinkling in the night sky. Reporters sat around him talking to each other and couldn't wait to throw out various questions. "Michael, everyone has paid special attention to your love life recently. Can you tell us about it?" A reporter wearing black-framed glasses asked first, with eagerness and curiosity in his eyes. Michael's mouth corners slightly raised, revealing his signature charming smile, and he said slowly, "Thank you for your concern. You know, I am now focusing on my career and have no intention of falling in love. I hope everyone will focus more on my music. That is what I really want to share with you. Do you understand me?" The reporters nodded one after another, and the pens in their hands quickly recorded on the notebooks, and the flashlights flashed more and more frequently, as if to capture every expression and every word of Michael. Michael's agent Jack Brown stood aside, with his arms folded in front of his chest, and a satisfied smile on his face. He knew in his heart that Michael's answer just now was exactly the persona he had carefully planned for a long time, a single top singer who focused on his career. Such a persona can not only attract fans' love, but also help Michael's career development. The long interview finally ended. Michael stood up tiredly, stretched his waist, and his joints all over his body clicked. Jack walked quickly to his side and whispered, "Well done, Michael. This character is so stable, it's perfect." Michael nodded silently, with a subtle look of fatigue and helplessness in his eyes. In fact, he is not single, as he said. He has a wife named Lily Thompson. They have been married for 3 years, but this marriage is like a treasure buried deep in the dark and has never been made public. Michael walked out of the interview room alone. The sun was still shining warmly on his face, but he inexplicably felt a chill spreading from the bottom of his heart. He strolled on the bustling streets of Hollywood, surrounded by people coming and going, car horns, people talking and laughing intertwined. But at this moment, these sounds seemed to have nothing to do with him, and his heart was full of contradictions and struggles. "Can I really keep going like this?" He couldn't help but whisper to himself. He stopped and looked at the busy crowd around him, feeling a lot of emotion in his heart. He knew that the city of Los Angeles was full of opportunities that countless people dream of, but also full of hypocrisy and deception. And he, like a butterfly trapped in a spider web, knew that the situation was difficult, but it was difficult to get out. "Lily, where are you now?" He muttered silently in his heart, and Lily's bright smile and gentle eyes emerged involuntarily in his mind. He missed her so much, missed her company, and missed every moment they spent together. However, for the sake of his career, he could only hide this feeling deeply, and this pain was like a blunt knife slowly cutting his heart. "Michael, after the show tonight, let's go to see Lily." Jack's voice suddenly came from behind, interrupting his thoughts. Michael turned his head, looked at Jack, nodded slightly, but a wave of guilt surged in his heart. He knew that he owed Lily too much. Lily had silently endured everything because of her career over the years, but he didn't know how to make up for it. At the same time, on the other side of the city, Lily Thompson was sorting bookshelves in the library where she worked. She was wearing a simple white shirt and a dark blue long skirt, and her soft long hair was tied into a ponytail. She is a gentle and kind librarian who is accompanied by books every day. However, because of Michael's career, she has to hide her true identity. Like a pearl buried in the dust, no one knows her brilliance. Lily looked up, looked through the window of the library, and looked at the dazzling sunshine outside, her heart full of longing and helplessness. She hasn't seen Michael for a long time, and she can only learn about his recent situation through TV and newspapers on weekdays. Every time she sees Michael shining on the stage, she feels proud and a little bitter. "Lily, what are you thinking about?" The voice of colleague Susan came from behind. Lily came back to her senses, smiled slightly, and said, "Nothing, just a little tired." Susan looked at her with concern, a trace of worry flashed in her eyes. "Lily, you always look absent-minded recently. Did you encounter something troublesome?" Lily shook her head and said casually, "No, really not. I guess I'm a little tired because I'm too busy at work recently." Susan sighed and patted Lily on the shoulder. Okay, if you have anything to talk about, feel free to find me. We are good girlfriends, I will definitely support you. Lily nodded gratefully and a warm current surged in her heart. She knew that Susan really cared about her, but her secret was like a heavy yoke that prevented her from confiding in anyone. After get off work, Lily walked home alone. On the billboard on the street, Michael's photo was particularly eye-catching. His handsome face and charming smile attracted the attention of passers-by. Lily stopped and looked at Michael on the billboard quietly, her heart full of longing and love. Michael, when can you really belong to me? When can we be together openly? She asked silently in her heart. As night fell, the city was lit up by lights, like a dazzling galaxy. Michael finished a day's work and dragged his tired body back to their shared apartment. When he opened the door, he saw Lily sitting on the sofa holding a book in her hand, but her eyes were a little wandering, obviously not in the mood to read. Michael walked into the door and saw Lily with a gentle smile on his face. Hey Lily. I'm back. Lily raised her head and saw Michael and her eyes flashed with surprise. Michael. You are finally back. Michael walked quickly to her side, hugged her gently, buried his head in her shoulder and took a deep breath. I miss you so much, Lily. I'm exhausted today, but it's all worth it when I think of seeing you when I come back. Lily leaned in his arms, enjoying this rare time together, her heart full of warmth and happiness. She knew that such time was extremely precious to them, and every minute and every second was worth cherishing. How are you today? Lily asked softly, her voice as gentle as the breeze. Michael sighed and said helplessly, I'm so tired. I feel like I can't breathe from all the interviews and activities. But seeing you makes everything different. Lily looked up and looked into his eyes, a trace of sadness flashed in her eyes. Michael, I know you are busy, but I really hope we can spend more time together. I miss you so much, I just want to have a meal, take a walk and live an ordinary life with you like an ordinary couple. Michael lowered his head, a trace of helplessness and guilt flashed in his eyes. I understand, Lily. I really feel sorry for you. But you also know that my career is at a critical stage and many things are beyond my control. Lily interrupted him. I understand, Michael. I'm not complaining, just speaking from my heart. I know you have paid a lot for your career and I will always support you. It's just that sometimes I can't help but think about it. Michael, we should go. Jack's voice came from the door, interrupting their conversation. Michael let go of Lily and turned to Jack and said, Okay, let's go. Lily looked at Michael's back as he left, feeling helpless. She sighed softly, sat on the sofa and looked at the empty doorway. She didn't know how long they could maintain this marriage full of secrets and lies. Chapter 2. Disguise and Encounter. The next morning, the sun shone into the room through the gaps in the curtains, and Lily slowly woke up from her sleep. She lay on the bed, looking at the ceiling and made a decision in her heart. She decided to disguise herself as Michael's assistant again and secretly go to the recording studio to find him. She missed him so much that even if she could just stay by his side for a while, it would be a kind of happiness for her. Lily got up, walked into the closet and picked out a black dress. This dress is simple and elegant, and it makes her look more gentle when she wears it. She put on a pair of big sunglasses to cover most of her face. Then she picked up a document, pretending that it was for work. After everything was ready, she took a deep breath and walked out of the house. Arriving at the door of the recording studio, Lily felt a little nervous. Her palms were slightly sweaty, and her heartbeat accelerated involuntarily. She stood at the door, adjusted her breathing and tried to make herself look calmer. Hey, are you the new assistant? A crisp voice suddenly interrupted her thoughts. Lily looked up and saw a young girl standing in front of her. The girl was wearing a pink dress, and the hem of the dress swayed gently with her movements. She had a curious smile on her face and her big eyes flickered and were full of energy. Yes, I am. Lily smiled slightly and replied. My name is Sophie Martin and I'm a loyal fan of Michael. The girl said excitedly, I came here today just to watch him record his new song. Let me tell you, I'm a super fan of his and I can sing every one of his songs. Lily nodded and said politely, Nice to meet you, Sophie. Sophie looked at Lily and a hint of curiosity flashed in her eyes. Why do you look so familiar? Have I seen you before? Or do you look like a star? Lily was shocked but quickly regained her composure and said with a smile, Maybe my face is more common. Many people say so and I don't know who I look like. Sophie nodded. Maybe. But I still think you look very familiar. Forget it, maybe I'm overthinking. Lily smiled slightly and said nothing. She knew that she had to be careful and not let Sophie discover her true identity. Otherwise, it might cause unnecessary trouble to Michael. At this time, Michael walked into the recording studio. He was wearing a white shirt and a pair of black jeans, simple and handsome. Her hair is a little messy, but it adds a touch of casualness. Seeing Lily standing there, he was slightly startled, and then a smile appeared on his face. Hey Lily. You are here. Lily took off her sunglasses and showed a gentle smile. Michael. You look good today. I hope you can record your new songs smoothly today. Michael walked to her side, took her hand gently while others were not paying attention and whispered, Thank you. I miss you, Lily. I look forward to seeing you every day. A trace of sadness flashed in Lily's eyes. Me too, Michael. But you are always so busy and we have no chance to be together. Sometimes I really feel like we are living in two different worlds. Michael sighed. I know, Lily. I don't want to be like this, but business matters. I will find a way to let us spend more time together. Lily interrupted him. I understand, Michael. I just can't help complaining. You hurry up and work, I'll just watch from the side. Michael, we should start working. The producer's voice came from the recording studio. Michael let go of Lily's hand and turned back to say to her, I'm going to work first, let's talk later. Lily nodded and watched Michael walk into the recording studio feeling helpless. She knew how precious such a short reunion was to them, but they had to be careful all the time, for fear that others would discover their relationship. Sophie stood aside, watching the interaction between Lily and Michael, with a hint of doubt in her eyes. She always felt that there was a special feeling between Lily and Michael. The exchange of eyes and subtle movements made her feel that it was not a relationship between ordinary friends. She decided to find an opportunity to have a good chat with Lily to find out what their relationship was. After the recording, Michael and Jack came out. Jack frowned slightly when he saw Lily but said nothing. Michael, we have to go, there is another schedule. Jack urged. Michael looked at Lily, his eyes full of reluctance. Lily, I'm leaving first, I'll contact you in the evening. Lily nodded. Okay, be safe and don't work too hard. After Michael and Jack left, Sophie walked to Lily and said with a smile, Hey Lily. You and Michael look familiar. Have you known each other for a long time? Lily smiled slightly. We are friends and have known each other for a while. Sophie looked at her suspiciously. Okay, I believe you. However, if you really like Michael, I advise you not to say it. His career is on the rise now, he is very busy and he doesn't need these troubles. Besides, his fans probably can't accept that he has a girlfriend. Lily was shocked but soon calmed down. You are right, Sophie. I know it in my heart. I just treat him as an ordinary friend and I don't have any other thoughts. Sophie nodded, turned around and left. Lily stood there feeling uneasy. She knew that Sophie had begun to doubt her, and she had to be more careful not to let anyone discover her true relationship with Michael. Otherwise, it might have a huge impact on Michael's career. Michael and Jack were sitting in the car. Jack looked at Michael with a trace of worry in his eyes. Michael, you look tired. Are you too tired from work recently? Or is it because of Lily? Michael sighed. I know, Jack. I am really tired physically and mentally. But I can't give up my career, nor can I give up Lily. She is too important to me and I can't lose her. Jack nodded. I understand, Michael. But you also have to know that your career is crucial. The competition in the entertainment industry is so fierce now. If you make a mistake, you may be eliminated. If you continue like this, you may really ruin your career. Michael shook his head. I can't give up Lily. We can definitely find a way to be together without affecting my career. Jack was silent for a while, then said, Okay, we can try. But you have to remember that if things get out of control, you have to make a choice. Sometimes you can't have both career and love. Michael nodded, his heart full of contradictions and struggles. He knew that Jack had a point, but he didn't know what to do if he had to choose between his career and Lily. He just hoped that they could find a perfect solution so that he could have a career and be happy with Lily. Chapter 3. The Unexpected Truth. Lily once again disguised herself as an assistant and came to Michael's studio. She walked into the studio quietly and saw Michael and the producer sitting in front of a pile of music equipment, concentrating on discussing the details of the new song. Michael's eyes were focused and serious. From time to time he wrote some notes on paper and then communicated his ideas with the producer. Lily stood quietly by the side, looking at the focused Michael, her heart full of love. She knew that Michael's love for music was so pure, which was one of the reasons why she loved him. Suddenly, the door of the studio was pushed open and Jack walked in anxiously. He frowned, walked quickly, walked straight to Michael, leaned over and whispered in his ear. "Michael, we have to talk, something big has happened." Michael was slightly stunned when he heard this, looked at Jack, then looked at the producer who was working, hesitated, then nodded and followed Jack into the lounge next to him. Lily stood there, feeling uneasy in her heart, looking at the backs of the two people leaving, always feeling as if something bad was going to happen. A few minutes later, Michael and Jack came out of the lounge. Michael looked very ugly, with pain and helplessness in his eyes. He walked to Lily and whispered, "Lily, you go back first. I have something to deal with and I guess I can't accompany you today." Lily was confused and looked at Michael's eyes, trying to find the answer from his eyes. "Michael, what's wrong? You don't look right." Michael shook his head and avoided her gaze. "Nothing, just work, I can handle it. You go back first, don't worry." Lily nodded, but her doubts grew deeper and deeper. She watched Michael and Jack walk into the recording studio, hesitated for a moment, and decided to stay to see what happened. She quietly walked to the door of the recording studio, put her ear to the door and tried to hear the conversation inside. In the recording studio, Michael and Jack sat on the sofa, and the atmosphere was very tense. Jack sighed and broke the silence. "Michael, I know you don't want to get divorced, but you have to face reality. Your marriage has become a burden to your career. Recently, fans have begun to doubt your love life, which is not good for our publicity plan. Moreover, if those photos in Lily's hands are exposed, your image will be completely ruined and your career will be ruined." Michael's face turned pale and his hands were clasped together. "I know, Jack. But I can't give up Lily like this. She is the most important person in my life. I love her and I can't leave her. Those photos. I believe she won't be exposed. She is not that kind of person." Jack shook his head. "Michael, you are too naive. In this entertainment industry, anything can happen. We can't take this risk. You have to make a choice, career and marriage, you can only choose one." Michael was silent, his eyes full of pain and struggle. He lowered his head, hugged his head with both hands, and his heart was in a mess. He knew that Jack was right. His career was very important to him. It was the result of his years of hard work. But Lily, how could he give up? She was his wife, the one he loved deeply, and an indispensable part of his life. Lily stood outside the recording studio, listening to their conversation, her heart filled with shock and pain. She couldn't believe that Michael would consider divorce. She couldn't believe that Jack would force Michael like this. Tears flowed involuntarily and her body trembled slightly. She knew that she couldn't just give up, she had to have a good talk with Michael, she couldn't let him make such a decision. Lily took a deep breath and pushed open the door of the recording studio. Michael and Jack both looked up and looked at her in surprise. "Lily, why are you here?" Michael's voice was a little surprised and flustered. "Lily, why are you here?" Michael's voice was a little surprised and flustered. Lily took a deep breath, trying to calm herself down, and walked towards Michael step by step, her eyes locked on him. "I heard what you said, Michael, are you really going to divorce me?" Her voice trembled slightly, full of disbelief. Michael lowered his head, avoiding Lily's gaze, rubbing the corners of his clothes anxiously with his hands, and remained silent. Jack stood up, his expression serious and his tone somewhat anxious. "Lily, you have to understand that Michael's career is now at the forefront, and this hidden marriage has become a stumbling block. If those photos are spread, he will be completely finished and all his previous efforts will be in vain." Lily looked at Jack angrily, her eyes red. "You only have career in your eyes. What about our feelings? Michael, you should speak up. Do you really want to listen to him and give up our marriage?" Michael raised his head, his eyes full of pain and struggle. He stretched out his hand as if he wanted to grab Lily, but he let it go powerlessly. "Lily, I don't want to give up on you, but what Jack said makes sense. My career is really important to me." Lily burst into tears. She stepped forward and grabbed Michael's arm tightly. "When we got married, we swore to carry it together no matter what difficulties we encountered. Now there is a little storm, you are going to abandon our marriage." Jack frowned on the side and wanted to speak, but Michael raised his hand to stop him. He looked at Lily, his eyes gradually firmed. "Lily, you are right. Let's find a way together. I will not give up our marriage easily." Jack sighed, sat back on the sofa and said solemnly, Michael, you have to think clearly. This step is too risky. If you are not careful, your career will be in an irreversible situation, fans will be lost and resources will be sharply reduced. Can you bear all this? Michael looked at Jack and said firmly, Jack, I understand the risks, but Lily is my life. Without her, what is the meaning of a successful career? I believe we can find a way to keep our home and not let our careers collapse. Lily burst into laughter. She held Michael's hand tightly as if holding their future hope. Yes, dear, we will face it together. We have survived the past 3 years, and we will definitely be able to do it this time. Jack shook his head helplessly. Okay, since you have made up your mind, let's try. But if things develop in the direction of getting out of control, we must decisively stop the loss, and we can't end up with nothing. The three fell into silence, each thinking about the future. Lily secretly made up her mind to protect this marriage and never let external factors easily separate them. Michael was quickly calculating in his mind, thinking about how to resolve the crisis, both to protect his relationship with Lily and to allow his career to develop steadily. Jack was worried, knowing that the entertainment industry is changing rapidly, and the slightest carelessness may cause an uproar. He silently prayed that this adventure would not make Michael's years of hard work go to waste. Chapter 4. Crisis and Choice. Michael and Lily returned home and sat side by side on the sofa. There was a long silence around them. Michael was the first to break the silence. He raised his head and looked straight into Lily's eyes. He said with guilt, Lily, I didn't handle it well this time and made you feel wronged. I'm really sorry. Lily shook her head gently with only concern for Michael in her eyes. I don't care about the grievances I have suffered. I only care about you. I really don't want to lose you, Michael. Michael held Lily's hand tightly as if he wanted to embed her hand into his palm. I must have saved the galaxy in my previous life to marry such a good wife like you. It's just that those bad things in the past are like a time bomb. I'm afraid it will blow our happiness to pieces. Shattered. Lily's voice was gentle but firm. The past can't be changed, but the future is still in our hands. Those photos and secrets should not become shackles that bind us. We will definitely solve it if we face it together. Michael was silent for a moment, thinking about Lily's words, and nodded slowly. You are so right, I will discuss with Jack and see how to properly solve this matter. Lily's mouth corners rose, revealing a smile, and her eyes were full of trust in Michael. I believe you no matter what, let's work hard together. The next day, Michael and Jack had a long discussion about the response strategy in the studio. Although Jack did not agree with Michael's decision to make his marriage public, he also knew that this marriage meant a lot to Michael and finally chose to respect him. We can gradually reveal the news that you are married to the public, but we must be cautious. First, hint that you have a girlfriend in the interview, and then gradually disclose more details. Jack made his own suggestions. Michael nodded in approval. Okay, I'll post some suggestive content on social media first to prepare for the subsequent interviews. Jack then reminded, I will arrange appropriate interviews and activities, but this is a long process and we can't be impatient. We have to take it step by step. Michael took a deep breath and calmed down. I understand, I will wait patiently and face it with Lily. This time I must handle it well and give an explanation for our marriage. At the same time, Lily was restless at home. She decided to find a way to investigate the photos that might threaten their marriage. She sat in front of the computer, opened the search engine, typed in Michael's name and kept tapping on the keyboard, trying to find some useful clues, but nothing came of it. Lily, what are you doing? Michael's voice suddenly came from behind. Lily was startled and hurriedly closed the computer page in a panic, pretending to be calm and said, Nothing, just checking some information. Michael walked to her side and sat down, keenly aware of Lily's abnormality. Are you worried about something? Don't hide it from me, Lily. Lily raised her head with sadness in her eyes. I'm really afraid that those photos will ruin our marriage, Michael. I feel very nervous when I think about this. Michael held her hand again, his tone firm and powerful. Believe me, Lily, we can definitely solve this problem and those photos will never ruin our relationship. I promise you. Lily nodded slightly and her gratitude to Michael increased a little more. Later, Michael posted a message on social media. Sometimes the most important thing in life is not your career, but the people who accompany you. #grateful for you. After posting, he looked at Lily and said, This is the first step in our public marriage. Lily looked at the screen of her mobile phone and her eyes flashed with surprise. You did it, Michael. I knew you could do it. Michael smiled back and said firmly, "This is just the beginning, I will keep working hard." Sophie, who has been following Michael's dynamics, was confused after seeing this content. She couldn't help but find Lily and asked directly, "What is your relationship with Michael? Don't tell me that you are just friends, I don't believe it." Lily was shocked but soon calmed down and replied, "We are friends, Sophie. You think too much." Sophie was full of doubt and shook her head, "I don't believe it. Just look at this dynamic he posted. There must be a secret between you." Lily was speechless for a moment and didn't know how to respond. If you like him, it's best not to tell him. He is so busy with his career that he has no time to deal with these romantic matters. Sophie added. Lily felt a pang in her heart and nodded helplessly, "You are right." After Sophie left, Lily felt helpless and knew that she had to be more cautious in the future and not let anyone catch her. A few days later, Michael was interviewed, and the reporter naturally would not miss the opportunity to ask about his love life. Michael smiled and responded, "I have a special her. She is the most important person in my life. I cherish her very much." After fans learned of the news, they left messages on social media to send their blessings. To everyone's surprise, after Michael made his relationship public, his career was not only not negatively affected, but also won more support and love from fans. "Your fans are very powerful and the plan is going smoothly," Jack said to Michael. Michael nodded and was full of gratitude. "Thank you, Jack. But the most important thing is that Lily has always been by my side to support me. Without her, I really don't know what to do." Lily felt relieved after seeing Michael's interview. At this time, Sophie found Lily and asked, "Have you seen Michael's interview?" Lily nodded, her face full of happiness. "I saw it, I'm very happy for him." Sophie stared at Lily, a hint of complex emotions flashed in her eyes. "I feel that you know him very well. Are you really just friends?" Lily smiled and replied, "Yes, he is the most important person in my life and we know each other very well." Sophie was silent for a moment and asked, "Do you really like him?" Lily nodded without hesitation, "I have always liked him from the beginning." Sophie sighed, "Okay, I believe you. But you have to know that Michael's career is very important now. You have to be careful and don't cause trouble for him." Lily nodded again, "I understand, I will pay attention." In the evening, Michael returned home and saw Lily, his face instantly changed. A gentle smile appeared. "Lily, I'm back." Lily raised her head, her eyes full of surprise. "How was your day?" Michael walked up and hugged Lily gently. "I'm fine because I know you are waiting for me at home. When I think of this, no matter how tired I am at work, it feels worth it." Lily leaned in Michael's arms and whispered, "I'm glad you can take the step of making your relationship public. We are one step closer to happiness." Michael nodded slightly. "I will continue to work hard to make our marriage completely open and transparent, so that everyone knows how important you are to me." Lily stared into Michael's eyes and said firmly, "I believe in you, let's work hard together." Michael smiled and his heart was full of gratitude to Lily. "Thank you, Lily, with you by my side I'm not afraid of anything. No matter what we encounter in the future, we can get through it." Chapter 5. Truth and Reconciliation. Michael and Lily sat side by side on the soft sofa at home. The air around them seemed to be frozen by an invisible hand, and the atmosphere of tension and expectation was spreading. Michael had just mustered up the courage to make their relationship public on social media. Once the news was released, it was like a boulder thrown into a calm lake, instantly stirring up thousands of waves. The fans' response was more enthusiastic than expected and showed a polarized trend. Most fans were sincere and left messages in the comment area to send their blessings. The words were full of heartfelt expectations for their idols to find happiness, but some fans found it difficult to accept this fact in a short time. Negative voices emerged like mushrooms after rain, and doubts and disappointment began to spread wildly in the comment area. Lily bit her lower lip slightly and her beautiful lips turned slightly white. She asked softly, "Michael, do you really think it is the right decision to make our relationship public?" Her voice was as soft as the spring breeze, but it could not hide the deep worry hidden in it. Michael held Lily's hands tightly, his hands were warm and powerful as if he wanted to pass on his strength to her. His eyes were as firm as a towering rock and he said, "Lily, I know it's not easy to make our relationship public. But I really don't want to live in lies anymore. I love you so much that I don't want to keep hiding it. Lily nodded slowly, her soft hair swaying gently, but the uneasiness in her eyes was like a stubborn stain, and it still did not dissipate. She knew clearly that Michael's career was at its peak, and their marriage, which had been carefully concealed, was likely to have a significant impact on Michael's public image. I'm just particularly worried that this will ruin your career. You know how fierce the competition is now. Lily frowned and said with a worried look on her face. Michael's mouth corners slightly raised, outlining an extremely gentle smile, gently caressing Lily's cheek. The action is as gentle as a feather brushing, and said, Lily, career is indeed important to me. It is the result of my hard work. But the weight of you in my heart is much more important than career, so heavy that it cannot be measured. I swear I will do everything I can to balance the two, and I will never let you down, believe me, okay? Lily stared into Michael's eyes, and those eyes were like a deep lake, reflecting her full gratitude and ardent love. She knew how much pressure Michael had to bear behind his decision to make the relationship public, and he finally resolutely chose her, which moved Lily's eyes slightly red. So she secretly made up her mind to believe in Michael without reservation and face all the challenges in the future with him bravely. Michael's updates on social media set off a storm in the blink of an eye. Fans were like boiling pots, rushing into the comment area to leave messages. Some fans were excited and said, Michael, I've been a fan of you since the beginning. I didn't expect you to have a girlfriend. I sincerely wish you two a happy marriage. But some fans felt that they were deceived and angrily vented their dissatisfaction. Michael, how could you do this? You've been hiding your love life from us. Aren't you treating us like fools? It's so disappointing. Michael browsed these comments, feeling helpless and sighing heavily. He actually expected that the public relationship would cause controversy, but the intense reaction of fans in reality still caught him off guard. He sighed silently in his heart, knowing that what he would face next would be a fierce storm of public opinion, and he had to go all out to deal with it. A few days later, Michael had an important interview about his career. The reporters showed an extraordinary interest in his suddenly public love life, and their eyes were full of curiosity, as if they wanted to dig out exclusive news from Michael. Michael, you mentioned your girlfriend on social media recently. Can you tell us your story in detail? Everyone is very curious. A reporter couldn't hold back his excitement and couldn't wait to ask questions. Michael raised his mouth, revealing his signature gentle smile, his eyes full of endless affection, and said, Yes, her name is Lily Thompson, and she is the most precious person in my life. We have been married for 3 years. In these 3 years she has been with me like a shadow, giving me countless support and love. If it weren't for her, I really don't know what I would do. The reporters were surprised to hear this, and the flashlights on the scene instantly flashed like fireworks at the festival. Why did you keep this relationship secret before? This is so puzzling. Another reporter asked immediately. Michael was silent for a while, quickly sorting out his thoughts in his mind, and slowly explained, At that time my career was in a critical period of rapid growth, and neither of us wanted to add unnecessary pressure to each other because of emotional matters. You also know that there are many things in the entertainment industry. But now that my career has gradually stabilized, we are thinking that it is time to let everyone know about our relationship and give this relationship a fair name. The reporters nodded one after another with understanding expressions on their faces, and the flashlights flashed more and more frequently, as if to accurately capture every expression and every word of Michael. Michael's mind was like a mirror, and he had to explain the whole thing clearly. Only in this way can the public truly understand their concealment of the relationship at the beginning and their decision to choose to make it public now, and win more support and understanding for himself and Lily. What do you want to say to the fans who have been paying attention to your emotional life? They are all eagerly looking forward to it. Another reporter asked. Michael thought seriously for a moment, still smiling, and responded, I really appreciate the fans' continued support for me. I will remember this friendship in my heart. I know that making our relationship public may make some fans unhappy and disappointed, but I also hope that everyone can understand that my personal life and career are very important to me and are indispensable. I will definitely continue to work hard to create more great music and give back to everyone's love for me. I will definitely not let you down. After the interview, Michael dragged his slightly tired body back home. Lily was sitting on the sofa, her eyes full of obvious anxiety, and the whole person looked a little haggard. Seeing Michael coming back, she immediately stood up and asked anxiously, "How was the interview? Did the reporters give you any trouble?" "I was very nervous." Michael walked to Lily, gently held her hand, trying to give her strength, and comforted her. "It's okay, the reporters are all nice and reasonable, and the questions are within my ability to handle. I think they should understand us and support us, don't worry too much." Lily nodded slightly, but the worry in her eyes was still like a haze lingering. "I'm still afraid that this will affect your career. Those negative comments on the internet. It's heartbreaking to see them." Michael interrupted her with a smile. "Don't think about it, Lily. I have the confidence to handle these things well. Believe me, everything will be fine. We have to think positively, right?" At the same time, Sophie Martin has been following Michael's movements like a detective. After seeing Michael's interview, the doubts in her heart snowballed and grew bigger and bigger. Unable to suppress her curiosity, she found Lily and asked directly, "What is your relationship with Michael? I feel that you are more than just ordinary friends." Lily was shocked and her heartbeat accelerated instantly, but she quickly adjusted her mood and replied calmly, "We are just friends, you think too much, Sophie." Sophie's face was full of doubt and she shook her head like a rattle. "I don't believe it. Look at the dynamics Michael posted and his affectionate look during the interview. There must be a secret between you. Don't hide it from me." Lily was speechless for a moment, her throat seemed to be choked by something and she didn't know how to answer. She could only remain silent, with a flash of panic in her eyes. "Do you really like Michael? I see you care about his affairs." Sophie asked immediately, with a hint of inquiry in her eyes. Lily hesitated for a moment, but finally gritted her teeth and nodded. "Yes, I have always liked him since the day I met him." Sophie sighed helplessly, a trace of disappointment flashed across her face. "Okay, I hope you don't affect Michael's career because of your feelings. His career is now flourishing and can't afford any mistakes." Lily nodded silently, knowing that she had to act more carefully in the future, not to cause trouble to Michael's career, and not to let their relationship be disturbed unnecessarily. Chapter 6. Misunderstanding and Crisis. Sophie was alone in her room, and the air around her seemed to be oppressive because of her inner struggle. She was full of love for Michael, but the cruel reality told her that the relationship between Michael and Lily was as solid as a rock and difficult to shake. After a fierce ideological struggle, she decided to have a good talk with Michael. Even if there was only a glimmer of hope, she wanted to fight for the passionate love in her heart. After the concert, the crowd gradually dispersed like a tide. Sophie seized the opportunity and walked quickly towards Michael. She took a deep breath, trying to make herself look calmer, and said, "Michael, can we talk? I have something in my heart that I have been holding back for a long time." Michael turned around and saw that it was Sophie, and a polite smile appeared on his face. "Of course, Sophie. Whatever you want to say, just open your mouth." Sophie mustered up her courage with a hint of expectation and a little nervousness in her eyes. "Michael, I know you and Lily have a special relationship, but I still want to ask you to give me a chance. I really like you too much, so much that I can't give up easily. Can't you consider me?" Michael's expression suddenly became serious. He looked at Sophie seriously with a firm look in his eyes. "Sophie, thank you very much for your support all the time. I understand your love. But the relationship between Lily and I has gone through ups and downs and is very deep. I absolutely cannot do anything to betray her. She is the most important person in my life, and this will never change." Sophie's eyes, a trace of disappointment flashed across her face, like an eggplant hit by frost, but she still said unwillingly, "Are you so sure that Lily is the only one in your life? Can you really be happy with her all the time? Maybe we will feel different when we are together." Michael answered without hesitation, "I am 100% sure that Lily is the one I have chosen. We have experienced too much together, and those memories are the cornerstone of our relationship. I will not give up my relationship with her because of anyone. I will never think about such a thing." Sophie sighed helplessly, her eyes full of loss like a wounded bird. "Okay, Michael. I respect your decision, but if you change your mind in the future, remember that there is someone like me who is always waiting here." Michael felt a little uneasy in his heart. He felt that Sophie's appearance was like a time bomb, which might bring unexpected troubles to their originally stable marriage life, and he had to keep an eye on it. On the other hand, Lily saw the conversation between Michael and Sophie on TV at home, and her heart suddenly felt like a pot of mixed feelings. Insecurity and jealousy surged like a tide. The sour feeling was like eating a handful of unripe grapes, making her heart sour. After the concert, she found Michael with a little grievance and jealousy in her voice. "Michael, I saw you and Sophie talking together. What did you talk about? Why did it seem like a long time?" Michael's expression became serious and he explained seriously, "Lily, she is just a fan of mine. There is really no other relationship. She just came to express her love to me, that's it, don't think too much." Lily's eyes flashed with disappointment. She lowered her head and whispered, "I know, but I just feel uncomfortable in my heart and I can't help but think about it. Do you think I am narrow-minded?" Michael gently hugged Lily, patted her back like coaxing a child and comforted her. "Don't worry, baby. She and I are really ordinary friends. I will be more careful in the future and not make you feel uncomfortable, okay?" Lily nodded helplessly. "Okay, I hope you can handle the relationship with her properly. I don't want to feel like there is a little rabbit in my heart because of this." When Michael returned home, Lily asked anxiously, "What's going on between you and Sophie? Is she still pestering you?" I looked at her eyes and felt something was wrong. Michael held Lily's hand and said firmly, "It's really nothing. He just likes my music. Maybe sometimes she expresses it a little too much and her enthusiasm is overwhelming. Don't think about it. I can't accommodate anyone else in my heart except you. You have to believe me on this." Lily looked into Michael's eyes, which were clear and sincere. In the end, she chose to believe him and nodded. "I believe you, but you have to be careful and don't let her have any misunderstandings." When Sophie saw the intimacy between Michael and Lily, jealousy and anger burned more and more in her heart like a blazing fire. There was a flash of determination in her eyes, as if she had made up her mind to take revenge on Lily. She thought to herself that as long as Lily left, she would still have a chance to be with Michael. After the concert, she found Lily and said bluntly, "Lily, I like Michael so much. Can't you help me and give me a chance?" Lily looked at Sophie seriously and said firmly, "Sophie, Michael is my husband. Our relationship is as solid as a rock. After going through so many things, I will never betray him or let anyone destroy our marriage." Sophie still didn't give up and asked, "Are you so sure that he is your true love? Are you really so happy together? Maybe he and I are a perfect match." Lily answered without hesitation, "I'm sure we are very happy. Please don't disturb our lives anymore. Let's part ways in peace and live happily." Sophie sighed helplessly, "Okay, I hope you will think about it again and don't say too much." Lily was full of uneasiness. She knew that Sophie would not give up easily. Her appearance would be a stumbling block on their marriage. She had to be careful and not let her destroy her and Michael's happiness. Michael was also very uneasy when he saw Sophie and Lily talking. After finding Lily in the library, he asked anxiously, "What are you talking about with Sophie? Did she say anything bad to you? I feel uneasy when I see her expression." Lily explained, "She just told me her opinion of our relationship, nothing else. Don't worry, I can handle it." Michael looked at Lily with a hint of nervousness in his eyes. "Really? Don't hide it from me. She bullies you, you have to tell me. I can't let you suffer." Lily smiled helplessly, "Really, don't worry about it. I'm not a child. I can handle these things." Michael hugged Lily gently. "I just care about you too much and I'm afraid of losing you. You have to understand my heart." Lily leaned in his arms, silently praying that all the twists and turns would pass as soon as possible and they could return to a peaceful and happy life as soon as possible. Chapter 7. Conflict and Misunderstanding. Sophie was filled with jealousy and resentment, and she was like a possessed person with a hint of madness in her eyes. She was determined to create misunderstandings by any means necessary to destroy the rock-solid trust between Michael and Lily. She sat in front of the computer, her fingers madly tapping on the keyboard, and left a message on Michael's social media account like crazy. "Michael, you are so charming. Every time I see you, my heart beats like a deer. I hope you can feel my sincerity. I really like you." After seeing this message, the fans were instantly like a pot of boiling water, and the entire comment area was boiling. Everyone began to speculate about the relationship between Sophie and Michael, and all kinds of doubts came like a tide, overwhelming. "Michael, how could you do this? You swore before that you only loved Lily, but now you are flirting with another woman? Aren't you deceiving our fans? It's so disappointing. I have always supported you and regarded you as an idol, but I didn't expect you to be such a fickle person. I really didn't expect it. When Michael saw these messages, he was angry and helpless, as if there was a fire burning in his chest. He knew in his heart that Sophie's message was like a powerful bomb that could blow their marriage to pieces at any time and bring them great trouble. After seeing the message, Lily was filled with anxiety and doubt, and she seemed to have lost her soul. Her hands trembled slightly and her eyes were full of loss and sadness. After the concert, she found Michael and asked with a trembling voice and a crying tone, "Michael, what's the matter with Sophie's message? What's going on between you? Don't hide it from me." Michael sighed helplessly and explained patiently, "Lily, that was just her wishful thinking. I have nothing to do with her at all. I don't know why she did that. Maybe she was too impulsive. You must believe me. I only have you in my heart. It has never changed." Lily was silent for a moment, bit her lip and said with red eyes, "I hope you can deal with this matter quickly. I don't want to see such messages anymore. It makes me panic." Michael nodded firmly, "I will definitely deal with it. I will go to her now and ask her to stop making such a fuss. I can't let her destroy our relationship." Sophie saw that the message did not set off the storm she wanted, and the resentment in her heart burned more vigorously like a fire poured with oil. She racked her brains again and came up with a bad idea. She posted a photo of her and Michael and added the text, "Sometimes friendship may turn into love, don't you think?" After seeing this photo, fans were like popcorn, boiling with excitement, and the doubts became more intense. Michael's image in the hearts of fans began to crumble, like a candle in the wind, which could go out at any time. When Michael saw the photo, his face turned red with anger, his hands clenched tightly, his joints turned white, and the anger in his heart almost broke through his chest. After seeing it, Lily was angry and sad, and tears rolled in her eyes like beads with broken strings. She found Michael again and asked in a tearful voice, "Michael, what's the matter with this photo? How do you explain it? Don't lie to me." Michael hurriedly explained, "Lily, this photo must have been taken by her on purpose, and then it was posted out of context to mislead everyone. We were just communicating normally at the time, chatting about music for a few words, and there was no relationship like she hinted at. You have to believe me. I only have you in my heart from beginning to end." Lily looked at Michael, her eyes full of pain and entanglement. Her heart was torn between trust and suspicion. In the end, the deep friendship with Michael in the past prevailed and she chose to believe Michael, but the shadow of suspicion in her heart could not be shaken off. She took a deep breath, tried to calm herself down and said, "I choose to believe you, Michael. But this time is really too painful. I hope this is the last time. I really can't bear this kind of tossing." Sophie still didn't give up. She had fallen into the quagmire of paranoia. In order to further undermine the relationship between Michael and Lily, she carefully edited a video of her conversation with Michael backstage. In the video, she cleverly spliced the images to make the interaction between the two look very ambiguous. Every careless action and every ordinary look of Michael seemed to be given a different meaning in this maliciously edited video. With the pleasure of revenge, she posted this video online, which instantly caused an uproar. Fans blamed Michael one after another and negative comments were like surging waves, one after another overwhelming Michael. "Michael, we have always supported you, but we didn't expect you to be such a two-timing person. This is so disappointing. I will never be your fan again." When Lily saw the video, her hands trembled so much that she could hardly hold the phone steadily. Tears welled up in her eyes and she cried out in a sobbing voice, almost collapsing, "Michael, what is going on? Tell me this is not true. I am almost driven crazy by these rumors." Michael hurriedly hugged Lily, anxiously speaking incoherently, "Lily, this is edited. She deliberately framed me. We were just discussing music at the time. There was really nothing else. I swear to God, I only have you in my heart. You are everything to me, my life. You must believe me, I am really wrong this time." Lily cried in Michael's arms. Her heart was filled with pain and confusion. After a long time, she raised her head, tears in her eyes, and said with a hint of despair and expectation, "I hope this is the last time. I really can't stand this kind of tossing. If something like this happens again, I really don't know what we should do." Michael hugged Lily tightly as if he wanted to integrate her into his body, and said with a choked voice, "Believe me, Lily. I will definitely solve this matter and will never let you get hurt again. I will let everyone know the truth and let Sophie stop her crazy behavior." In order to thoroughly clarify the facts, Michael decided to take the initiative. He contacted his legal team and explained the situation in detail. The lawyers quickly launched an investigation, collected evidence, and prepared to file a lawsuit against Sophie to protect their own and Lily's reputation. At the same time, Michael asked Jack to arrange an emergency public relations meeting and formulate a response strategy. He wanted to hold a press conference as soon as possible to clarify everything to the public. At the public relations meeting, everyone sat together in a solemn atmosphere. Jack frowned and analyzed the current situation with a serious expression. Michael, public opinion is very unfavorable to us now. We are losing fans seriously and the brand is also beginning to waver. We must take action as soon as possible to reverse the situation. Michael's eyes were firm and he said without hesitation, "No matter what the cost, I will give Lily a clean slate and give justice to our relationship. I want everyone to know that we were framed maliciously." The public relations team offered suggestions, and after a fierce discussion, a detailed response plan was finally determined. In the following days, Michael and the team were busy day and night, collecting evidence and preparing materials for the press conference. Everyone went all out to try to save the crisis. Although Lily was still in pain and uneasy, she chose to stand firmly beside Michael. She knew that Michael needed her support more than ever at this moment. She tried to adjust her state and assist Michael in handling some affairs, while also praying silently in her heart, hoping that this nightmare would end soon. Chapter 8. Reconciliation and the Future. Michael returned home and saw Lily sitting on the sofa, her eyes full of anxiety and fatigue, and she looked haggard. His heart suddenly tightened as if being tightly grasped by an invisible big hand. He walked quickly to Lily and sat down. He gently held her hand and said softly, "Lily, I have thought of a way. I will hold a press conference to make all the truth of the matter public and let everyone know that we were framed. This time I will never let you get hurt again." Lily raised her head with both worry and expectation in her eyes, and asked in a slightly hoarse voice, "Can it really be solved? There are so many negative comments. Will everyone believe us? I am really afraid that all this is irreversible." Michael nodded vigorously, his eyes were as firm as steel, as if he could penetrate all the haze. "It will definitely work, Lily. I promise you I will let everyone see the truth. Our feelings are sincere and can withstand any test. We will definitely get through this crisis together." At the press conference, Michael was wearing a neat suit, his expression was serious and solemn, and his eyes were full of unquestionable determination. He stood on the stage, his eyes swept over the many media reporters below the stage, took a deep breath and slowly spoke. "Regarding the recent false statements on the internet, I solemnly clarify here today. Sophie is just one of my fans. Those messages, photos and videos are all her unilateral actions, and they have been maliciously edited with the purpose of misleading everyone. The only person I love is Lily. We have been married for 3 years. In these 3 years, we have supported each other and experienced countless ups and downs together. Our relationship is as solid as a rock. I hope everyone will not be misled by these false information and treat us fairly." After the press conference, the direction of public opinion gradually began to change. After learning the truth of the matter, fans left messages to support Michael and Lily. Some fans wrote, "So this is the case. We blamed Michael wrongly. He and Lily really love each other. I hope they can be happy forever." Other fans said, "It's good that the misunderstanding is resolved. I look forward to more good works from Michael. We will always support him." Sophie regretted all this. She realized that her behavior had caused great harm to Michael and Lily, and her heart was full of guilt, as if countless ants were gnawing at her soul. She tossed and turned for several nights and finally mustered up the courage to find Michael and Lily with a face full of shame and sincerely apologized. "I'm sorry, I did these wrong things because I liked Michael too much. I was impulsive. I now know that I was wrong. I hope you can forgive me. I really regret it." Lily looked at Sophie, and the resentment in her heart slowly dissipated when she saw her sincere apology. She whispered, "I hope you can respect our feelings in the future, and I hope you can find your own happiness. Let the past go and let's look forward." Michael also nodded and said, "The past is over. I hope you can live a good life in the future and don't do things that make you regret." After this storm, Michael and Lily's relationship became more firm. Michael's career was not only not affected too much, but because of his persistence in his feelings, he gained more respect and love from more people. His music works also have a different emotion because of this experience, which is more touching. The songs he created are infused with his deep love for Lily and his understanding of the hardships of life. Every note seems to be telling their story. At night, the breeze blew gently, bringing a hint of coolness. Michael and Lily came to the balcony and looked up at the starry sky together. The sky was full of stars, like gems inlaid on the black sky, emitting a mysterious and charming light. Michael gently hugged Lily and whispered in her ear, "After going through so much, I am more certain that you are the one I want to accompany for life. No matter what happens in the future, I will never let you get hurt again. We will create more beautiful memories together and make our love as eternal and bright as this starry sky." Lily leaned in Michael's arms with a happy smile on her face and responded softly, "Me too. No matter what difficulties we encounter in the future, we will face them together and never separate again. With you by my side, I am not afraid of anything." The two smiled at each other. Under the reflection of the stars, their figures were tightly attached to each other, as if telling their firm love vows, and walking hand in hand towards a hopeful future. Since then, they have cherished each other more, jointly managed this hard-won relationship, and left a series of happy footprints on the road of life together. This experience has become the most unforgettable chapter in their love story, inspiring them to bravely face all challenges in the future.